Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today we are talking Mikal Bridges, guys. He has been traded to the New York Knicks for a plethora of assets. We'll be talking about that once we get into the video. So in this video, we will be covering, what this means for the Nets, what this means for the New York Knicks. I'm also going to be addressing this Kevin Durant and Houston Rockets thing as well, just because the Nets are kind of involved in that. They traded some picks back to the Rockets after this trade went down. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. Not too much about that, though. But let's get right into the video. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you guys subscribe with the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother, the Great Blogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Around the Cod Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X, Around the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Around the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the Star 7 podcast. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Around the Great Podcast. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the video. Let's roll that intro. Hey, come on, Stotty. Stop! 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 Red Slam! First pitch! Bring him in! Yes! Oh, damn. Alright, let's get into the video. But before we get right into it, let's start with the full trade breakdown. So, the Knicks, they will receive Mikal Bridges and a 2026 second-round pick. The Nets will receive a 2025, 2027, 2029, and 2031 first-round picks. Those are all protected and from the New York Knicks. They will also receive a 2025 first-round pick, that being by the Milwaukee Bucks. That pick is protected. They will receive a 2028 pick swap, unprotected pick swap, and they will receive a 2025 second-round pick from the New York Knicks. So, let's talk about what this means for the Brooklyn Nets. First off, it means the Nets have officially given up. And in my opinion, I think they got lucky that they were able to get this package. When teams wait too long to make their trades for their star players, they don't get enough value in return. Let's look at, just last season when the Raptors traded away Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby. They did not get enough value for them at all. If you go back and look at those trades, they did not get the value that those guys were worth in any way, shape, or form. You saw that Pascal Siakam helped the Pacers to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and OG Anunoby was a very key part on the New York Knicks team that could have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals had he not gotten hurt, and others have gotten hurt on the team. Also, I forgot to mention that the Nets received Bogdan Bogdanovic in the trade as well. I forgot to mention that. Anyway, so, the Nets were able to leverage the Knicks into using all this draft capital that they once did have to get Mikal Bridges, because obviously he is still a great scorer. He's still a very good player. And, the Knicks were not going to get away with keeping all those draft picks. So the Nets were very lucky that the Knicks did have those draft picks and that they were interested in trading for Mikal Bridges. Now, while those draft picks are most likely not going to be very valuable until they get to 2029 and 2031, which I think they would be very valuable because, the guys like Brunson and, Bridges are most likely not going to be on the team by the time that year does roll around. The picks like, earlier 2025, 2027, those guys will most likely be on the team by that time. So it's not really going to help them out in the short run, but in the long term, it probably will end up helping them out to get, higher in the lottery and, to get a good draft pick. I think also that this trade will mean that they're going to trade away pretty much everybody. They're just going to keep tanking and, just try and get rid of all their better players. I think they'll trade away Cam Johnson. I would assume that they're going to flip Bogdanovic in a trade. I doubt that they want to have him taking away minutes from their younger players. They'll also probably end up trading Ben Simmons because at this point, do you really want him on your team? I just don't think he'd fit with this younger core of the Brooklyn Nets. And you might as well just eat his salary at this point. You only have to pay it for 1 year, and he's not even worth being on the team. That's like one guy I'd probably just pay to stay off the team, for goodness sake. Anyway, now what does this trade mean for the New York Knicks? Well, it means that all the Nova guys are back together. The only thing they really need is Jay Wright to be the head coach. Obviously, we know that's not happening, but, always fun to think about. I'm upset that it is the New York Knicks that have them all. You would love it to see be the Philadelphia 76ers. And when you really think about it, actually, not really when you really think about it, you know that the Sixers had Mikal Bridges in the palm of their hands, and they let him go for Zaire Smith, who is not even in the NBA anymore. So that is just honestly ridiculous. But anyway, we know that Mikal Bridges is very durable. That is going to be good for the New York Knicks because of the fact that, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Bogdanovich, they were all injured in the later stages of the season, and they were worn out. Mikal Bridges has not missed a basketball game since high school, so that is going to tell us that he, will be very durable for most part of the season, and hopefully for him just not get any injuries. We do know Thibodeau as a coach to, really push his guys to play more minutes. You saw even in the regular season, guys were having an absurd amount of minutes, on their stats, and I honestly thought that was pretty ridiculous because it wasn't going to work in the postseason, and it evidently didn't. I wonder if Bridges is going to be playing all 82 games because he's going to have guys are not healthy at any time by the time the end of the season pulls around. But will Bridges have to miss games because of rest or any injuries that he maybe has? That is going to be something to look out for there. I also don't think that the New York Knicks are going to be signing Isaiah Hartenstein. That is going to be very, very hard to do because, the whole CBA and yada, 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 cap space and all. So if they don't do that, they're going to be a pretty small team, as Mitchell Robinson right now is really your only legitimate big man that you can play when it comes to the postseason time. Jericho Sims is there, but he's not really the greatest player in the world. He's a half-decent rebounder, but that is really the only thing you can give him credit for in his game. So you wouldn't really be looking forward to that, saying you being a Knicks fan. But anyway, we saw last year from teams like the Philadelphia 76ers that rebounding was a very big problem, and it probably cost them the series against the Knicks. I mean, you saw that one game where, Maxey was fouled or whatever, and he couldn't, and he dropped the ball, lost the ball, whatever, the whole timeout thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. The Sixers on that possession missed multiple defensive rebounds, and they lost in, they lost in 7 games. So, they probably could have taken 1 or 2 of those games, and they could have ended up winning the series in maybe 5 or 6. I mean, saying that Embiid or whatever was healthy and able to get rebounds. So yeah, being a small team in the playoffs not going to work out for the New York Knicks. This also probably tells us, well, not probably, this also tells us that OG Anunoby is gone. I mean, you don't trade a plethora of draft picks and a good scorer all for just to re-sign OG Anunoby to a $30 million contract and have him come off the bench. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't think the Knicks would be willing to pay $30 million for OG Anunoby, saying that he might not stay healthy, evidently of what happened last season where he couldn't stay healthy throughout the time he was on the Knicks. So it just really wouldn't make that much sense. The Knicks are still a very deep team, though. Don't get it twisted. They have a lot of very good role players that can help them win. So they don't necessarily need OG Anunoby. And probably the best thing for the Knicks is that they have 5 first-round picks in the next 3 years. So in the recent or in the next few years, they have a lot of draft picks. Though when it comes to the later years, they're not going to have too many draft picks. Though teams have been able to cover up draft picks based on trades or something else, they normally get some of those picks back. So we'll see what the Knicks have in store when it comes time for them. Now, I want to talk a little bit here about this Houston Rockets Kevin Durant thing because the Nets were involved. Woj tweeted about this. Now, I couldn't really put this in my own words. I'm just going to read what Woj tweeted. He made 2 tweets about this. So his first one was, Brooklyn has a deal with Houston to return the Nets 2026 first-round pick for a 2027 Phoenix Suns first-round pick. Rockets also acquired 2025 rights to swap Houston / OKC's first for 2025 Suns first-round pick. And then he quote tweets this saying, Houston acquires the 2029 more favorable of Dallas and Phoenix first-round pick and acquires the right to swap Houston's first-round pick for less favorable Dallas first and Phoenix first-round pick. So you guys might know what that means. You're okay, because I barely can understand the English either. There's no, apostrophe S's in any of these. This is just bad grammar from Woj here, but I guess he really wasn't thinking about grammar. He just wanted to get the news out. But anyway, Bam Adebayo is literally tweeting right now for signing a $55 million deal. That's an overpay. I don't care what anybody says. I tweeted about it. All right, my camera cut out. Let's get right back into it. So, what are the Rockets going to be doing with Kevin Durant? Since the Knicks traded these picks, I thought I'd talk about it. a little bit. Apparently, the Rockets are linked to Kevin Durant. First thing, I think everybody would take him as a joke. I don't think anybody would take him seriously anymore if he moved teams once again. He created this whole big three with Phoenix. He pretty much has destroyed the team, pretty much what he did with the Brooklyn Nets. He destroyed the whole team just to get Bradley Beal, and now it doesn't look like they're going to be going anywhere in the next few seasons. So it would just be stupid and just cowardly if he left again for another team. And then saying what the Rockets would have to give up for him. Now, I understand they have some of these draft picks back, but when you're talking about the players they would probably have to give up, that being Jalen Green, who had a very good end to the season last year, I'd be very reluctant to give him up. And then apparently they're saying that Albert Sengun could be traded as well. This is a potential franchise guy right here. I'm not sure why you would trade him for a 35-year-old Kevin Durant and, probably not even end up winning a championship with him. You really wouldn't have anybody else on your team. Green and Sengun were the main contributors last season to the Houston Rockets team while they were on, winning streaks and trying to fight for a play-in spot. Why in God's name would you try and, trade him for a 35-year-old Kevin Durant? I'm not saying that Kevin Durant isn't a great player still, but it just doesn't make that much sense with Kevin Durant's history ever since leaving the Golden State Warriors when it comes to winning championships. I understand Kevin Durant's from Texas, and you would love to have him there to market that, but you would like to market a championship a little bit more. It just wouldn't make sense to trade for Kevin Durant. Anyway, that'll do for the video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to the post notifications zone. Go subscribe to my brother, the Great Blogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Cog Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Great Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.